This is Italy. Spectacular, historic, delicious. Most of us, when we think about Italy, we think of Italian food and how delicious it is. Delicious is a really good high caliber word to say the food is great. Can you think of some other words that could be used as synonyms for delicious? What about the word tasty or scrumptious? Or have you ever heard the word delectable? These are all words that mean food is delicious. Italy is a country in southern Europe, and it's shaped like a boot. You see that right there? Right there, it's highlighted, and they kind of magnified it so you could see it looks like a high-heeled boot. Water surrounds the country on 3 sides. More than 60 million people live in Italy. Italy is known for its beautiful landscapes. There are tall, majestic mountains. Italy's tallest mountain, Monte Bianco, rises more than 15,700 feet, or 4,785 meters. There are also thick forests and flat, dry plains. Much of Italy's land is used for farming. People grow tomatoes, olives, and grapes. Italian farmers also raise animals such as pigs and sheep. These grapes are used to make wine. And so this is actually a picture of a vineyard in Italy. Italy has a very long history. People have lived there for thousands of years. This right here shows a picture of a sculpture of the famous Roman Emperor Augustus. One group, the Romans, ruled for 400 years, and they built vast towns and cities. Before the Romans, the Greeks and the Etruscans ruled Italy. A lot of modern day, this is kind of like the first civilization where there was a lot of modern day technology that was starting to be employed. You may not think that like modern day, when we think about plumbing or water systems, is very modern, but truthfully, the Romans were one of the first civilizations to really be able to engineer infrastructure and systems within cities to be able to serve the masses. And so that's quite a feat. There's many things that actually can be attributed to the Romans in this way. If you know a little bit about the Roman Empire, you also know that there were many countries all over Europe that once were under that Roman rule. Today, many Roman buildings still stand in Italy. The Colosseum is a huge arena that was built by the Romans. The Colosseum is about 2,000 years old, and it can seat more than 50,000 people. The Colosseum is literally located right inside of Rome. And so you have this huge city, and then you have certain ruins like the Colosseum that are right there in the middle. A Colosseum is very similar to a stadium, it's a place where people would go for entertainment. Various sporting events like chariot races or gladiator fights would take place in the Colosseum. They also built a giant temple called the Pantheon. And remember, a temple is just another way to say a place of worship. It's similar to like a church. Rome is the capital of Italy. It is the country's largest city. There are more than 2.8 million people that live there. This shows a picture on the right-hand side of a church in Milan. And Milan is Italy's second largest city. Do you like to know a little bit of a fun fact when it comes to Rome? So within Rome actually is the small state called Vatican City. So it is literally a state/city inside of the city of Rome. And it's actually where the Pope lives. So the Pope is the most influential or the leader of the Roman Catholic Church. And so the Pope lives in the Vatican in Vatican City. And this is located inside of Rome. The Sistine Chapel is one of the most famous churches in the entire world, and it has some of the most beautiful pieces of artwork that you'll ever see in your life. And so if you ever go to Rome, you have to visit the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City. The main language in Italy is Italian. This is how you say hi and bye in Italian. Ciao. This is how you say I'm hungry. Ho fame. Italian is based on an ancient language called Latin. And in fact, all of your Romance languages can trace back to or are rooted in Latin. Your Romance languages are Italian, French, and Spanish. All have Latin roots. That's why people who speak Spanish are called Latinos. Italy is famous for its flavorful food, pasta and risotto. These are two of their favorites. Did you know that there are more than 600 shapes of pasta? I only knew about spaghetti and bow tie, but 600? That's quite impressive. Risotto is made and cooked with rice and broth. It's sort of like a creamy rice. Italian families eat most of their meals together, and family is a huge part of Italian life. Adult children often live with their parents, and grandparents live with the family too. This is very similar to a lot of Asian cultures that have intergenerational families living together. Italians love soccer. More than 80,000 fans pack into Ciro Stadium in Milan. And when the team scores, the fans go wild. What other sports do Italians enjoy? People like skiing and snowboarding in the mountains. Italy is known for its amazing art. Churches overflow with paintings and sculptures. People can also see art at Italy's many museums. Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci are two famous Italian artists. The sculpture in the center is a statue by Michelangelo. The painting you see on the right is one of the most famous paintings in the world called The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. And both of these artists are featured in that great church, that great, large, immense church called the Sistine Chapel. More than 50 million people visit Italy each year. It is the 5th most visited country in the world. Pompeii is a popular place to visit. It's an ancient town that was nearly destroyed by a volcano about 2,000 years ago. This right here shows a picture on the right-hand side of the volcano that almost destroyed Pompeii. And when that volcano erupted, it literally just took over the city. And this is all like in an instant that city actually perished or died because it was such a large eruption that occurred. So here are some fast facts. The capital city of Italy is Rome. The population of Italy is more than 60,000. The main language is Italian. The money that they use now is called the euro. The major religion is Roman Catholic. Neighboring countries are Switzerland, Slovenia, France, and Austria. Here's a cool fact. Pizza was invented in Naples, Italy. Let's take a look at some of the words that we encountered throughout the text. Ancient. Ancient means really old. Oftentimes we talk about using the word ancient with those really old civilizations like the Greeks, the Romans, or the Egyptians, or when we're talking about ruins or relics. An arena is a large building where sporting events are held. Do you remember the name of the large arena that is in Rome? It starts with a C. It's called the Colosseum. A capital is where a city where the country's government is based. In this case, we know it's Rome. Do you know what Mississippi's capital is? Jackson, Mississippi. And do you know what the United States capital is? Washington, D.C. A temple is a building that's used for worship. It's similar to a church. Vast means huge in size, area, or amount. And so this was a word that was used to describe the Roman Empire, which was quite vast. So let's take a look at some different crafts that we can do at home that will help celebrate Italian culture. Pizza, anyone? This is a craft that uses construction paper to design your own homemade pizza. Easy peasy. Another easy peasy craft that could celebrate Italian culture is to design your own Leaning Tower of Pisa. Pisa is one of the most famous sites to visit in Italy, and it's literally a tower that leans, and it's been leaning for hundreds of years. You can do this with a simple paper towel roll, toothpick, and a piece of paper, and you're good to go, and you have your very own Leaning Tower of Pisa. All right, this is for my crafty folks who love to design. This right here is a mosaic created out of pasta. So you don't necessarily need all of these different types of pasta. One would probably be suffice. But if you have multiple types of pasta, you could create your own pasta Italy design. And honestly, it's kind of a bit of a puzzle trying to get all of those different pieces to fit within that design. Pasta, anyone?